There we go. What's going on, dudes? We're hopping in live 3 days in a row. That's consistency. That's actually science too. The science of streaming, if you will. We'll let some people get on here before we start ripping it, but we got some exciting stuff today. As always, if you were here yesterday, you'll notice all our guys. Not all of them, 9 of them. We have 30 panels of wood, but some of them need to be double-sided. And if I've done the math right, 3, 6, there's another 6, there's 12. I believe it's altogether 15 that have to be double-sided. So 30 panels of wood, 15 double-sided. That means 45 surfaces to do. I've done 9. I do have to get all the finish on it by Monday so that I can deliver this by Tuesday. Unfortunately, before we can get going on those, we do have other woodworking to do, which we'll get going with here in a second. We got 2 people and 1 like. That's a crazy view to like ratio, whoever you are that liked it. Yeah, we got to keep working on the bar top first because I have to get 1 more glue up done today on that so that on Monday I can also put a finish on that. Yes, Dana, what's going on, dude? Congratulations once again, Dana, on all your accomplishments recently. Do we have enough blue? I don't know if we have enough blue. Yeah, today I need to make some really good progress to make sure I know if we have enough blue so that I could panic order some. I don't even know if I'd be able to get it in time at this point. The Rubio Monocoat distributor, maybe even manufacturer, is actually in Spicewood, Texas, which is pretty close. So it's a really short ship time, generally speaking. Yeah, Joe Mama, what an all-star crew. 2 of the 3 in the chat right now are big dogs. I don't know who the 3rd person is because I've only seen 2 people chatting. Yeah, I suppose we're gonna need to make a lot of progress today on the panels to know if we have enough blue. Just a gut feeling from yesterday, I think we do. So I did 9 of the 45 surfaces that I need to finish as of yesterday. And let's see, what is 9 into 45? That's 1/5. Holy jamoly. We have a lot to go, team. I need to probably get at least like 15 more done today. Yeah, 1/5, solid. And I think we are doing better than 1/5 of the stuff. Hold on, let me just shake it real fast. So I have this one, and I think we're like right there-ish. And I have another one of these. And then I also have a small one of these that I panic bought. So I think we're doing okay. And I'm already blue. Shit. Dang it. That was quick. I really thought that I was gonna go longer today before I started getting blue on things. We already have blue on things. I've dyed my phone blue. Luckily, it's just the case, and I think it'll come off. I dyed my shirt blue yesterday, my pants blue, my shoes blue, obviously parts of my skin. So we're gonna see if we can keep it to just that. The good news is, with these panels, they're looking really, really nice. And also, I sent some pictures to our guy, and he really liked them. So, the blue's good. He loved the wood grain. Let me bring you over here, first of all, and kind of show you. The bummer is that, hey, you can kind of see that. Maybe the sun's a little bit better today with what time we're doing it. They are already really, really nice. Super, super smooth. The blue's gorgeous. I'm stoked by it, honestly. Corey, what's going on? Good to have you in the chat again. I recognize that name. Good to have you here. So we're gonna get back to the blue, But yeah, grain peeking through, that's the magic of staining it versus painting it. If you paint it, you barely see the grain. But this, you for sure see the grain, and there's some like modulations in the blue. It's not just a sheet of blue. It's like different temperatures of blue, which is what they wanted. So that's all cool. Before we get to that, and I had a better system by the end of it yesterday, but before we get to that, we have to work on the, let's see if we can see it right here, the bar top, because we got to get a glue up done on that today so that on Monday, all the glue is dry and I can sand it and I can put a clear coat Rubio mono coat finish on this guy. Yeah, true staining makes it pop for sure. So we got to do some work on this. That is, ooh, remember how hard it is to be a weatherman? That's what we're starting off today doing. We're going to see how fast we can do that because, again, I think I probably have to get like 15 to 20 panels done today so that Monday's not a nightmare, and that also I know if I have to panic buy any more finish right now, I don't think it would get here by Monday. I really don't. We would have to figure out what to do in that sort of situation. I hope it doesn't come to that. The other thing, which is kind of why I wanted to do the whole thing today, is today officially marks the exact 5-year anniversary of when I started doing this full time. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Glenn, man, he's on mute. Animated. That's it right there, animated. You can't hear what I'm saying, but good to have you here, bud. Right there. Yeah, what I was saying is this is the exact 5-year anniversary of when I started Outer Woods back in 2021 in February. The official start date is just one picture in my phone where the day that I started, thank you, Dana, I appreciate it. The day that I started, I went with 3 friends out to Fredericksburg. We were gonna go do like a little winery kind of brewery tour, but I asked if we could go to this like weird janky ass slab supplier because I wanted to just get a couple pieces of wood and do something with them. I had started kind of messing around with some things a little bit earlier. Like I made a little charcuterie board that was like that big. Thank you, Joe Mama. I appreciate it. I was trying to read through that comment, and that's not how you actually spell some of those words, but I think I got it. Yeah, anyway, so I went to this place, and I had never picked up wood before, bought it, so I had no idea what I was getting into. This dude was in deep out in Fredericksburg. It was not like the, touristy part of Fredericksburg. It was deep, deep Fredericksburg. And I know Fredericksburg because my grandparents were there, so I went to Fredericksburg a lot. Anyway, I showed up to this dude's ranch property, who knows? It was a bunch of acres, and it looked terrifying. Like it was a sprawling mess of a graveyard of just stacked up slabs and like old sawmills, chainsaws, like lighter fluid and, oil cans and lights hanging down that were sparking. That might be an exaggeration, but it looked sketch. I have pictures of it when I went back later, because I did actually keep going back to that guy. But anyway, it was sketch as hell. And my friends were just sitting in the car in his property, and I was just out there talking to this dude. I had no idea what I wanted or what I was gonna get or anything like that. Archie, I have no idea what you said. That comment did look like it got blocked by YouTube automatically. That's what I'm talking about. Steve Harrington. Yes, it's purely the hair. Another figure that I look like that I've been told is actually I think another Steve. If you guys have ever watched Big Mouth, Coach Steve, I think his name is Coach Steve. He has a mustache in Big Mouth and a whistle. But when my hair is getting long like this, and if I don't do anything with it, and especially when I have the mustache, that's my spirit animal, is Coach Steve from Big Mouth, which is not not the best, but we'll take Steve Harrington. So anyway, yeah, I bought these 2 pieces of mesquite live edge slabs. One of them was long and skinny. The next one was kind of like this root ball, so it was a little bit kind of more like a circle, but it was very, very unique and ornate. Anyway, I think I bought them both combined for $200, and the dude was strictly cash only. But I bought them for $200, and I took them back, and I finished them in my parents' driveway. I basically just sanded them with a belt sander, my dad's belt sander, and then I put some blue resin in it. I bought some hairpin legs from Amazon, slapped them on there. So I bought them for $200. I'm sure the resin cost something. And I think I sold both of them to some woman on Facebook Marketplace for like $300 or $400. So $100, $200 profit, probably worked 20 hours on it. So got paid like $2 an hour, which, you know, since then we've increased the rate. We've doubled the rate. We're at $4 an hour now after 5 years. So if you keep, you know, you're only 8 doubles away from $1 billion, as they say. Right, so yeah, that was day 1 of Outer Woods, and that was officially exactly 5 years ago today. So, woo! I was gonna do something to celebrate, like not work today, but I have to work today. Yeah, multiplicative, baby. Have you seen that dude on Instagram? He's so funny. He's got like short curly hair, and he always does the stitches where, you know, you'll have some hustle culture tech dude who's like, get $1 million, you double it, now you got 2 million. You keep doubling that and you get to $1 billion. Double that, you're at 2, and he just keeps on going. And he says these ridiculous things, and then he stitches it, and then he just takes it to the next degree. He's hilarious. Anyway, we're only 12 doubles away from getting $1 billion an hour right now. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get started, because I'm just yapping. I'm yapping. We're gonna go over here where the bar top is that we were working on yesterday. I haven't really looked at the glue up this morning. I assume it's okay. I've set some things up so that you guys aren't having to watch me play Jenga. Not Jenga, really. Remember that game? It was called Traffic Jam. There was like a little plastic kind of grid where you had all the plastic cars on it, and you could slide the cars, and you were trying to get the red one out. Remember that game? Anyone? No? I think it was called Traffic Jam. That's what it feels like working in the shop right now, because I have so much stuff, and I need that tool, but it's behind that tool. Anyway, yeah! Joe Mama, yes, that's what I'm talking about. This is our bar top. Let's get after it. So first we need to take off the clamps. We're gonna move this guy real fast. Oh, we're stuck. That's why we're stuck. Cool. I put this here. I shouldn't have. This is going to be the apron. I'll show you what an apron is in a little bit. Actually, hopefully very quickly, because we got to kind of roll today. We're still not completely. Are we gonna miss it? We're gonna miss it. All right. So there's the glue up. It should look exactly the same as it did last night, but things are dry. Yeah, you think you'd already watched my videos, like that unique table? Yes, we've made some unique tables. I appreciate it. Am I saying that right? Zoe? Maybe? Joe Mama. Yeah, Fun Brain. It might have been a Fun Brain game. If you ever want to get onto Fun Brain and you want to get to the last level and you don't want to have to work your way through all the other levels, the code that you can use is Spoon8. I don't know why I still remember that, but Spoon8 bypasses all of the levels and you can just free play. The Fun Brain, sponsor us. We need a Fun Brain sponsorship. Yeah, thank you very much, Zoe. I appreciate it. Talented, I don't know. It's just a lot of mistakes, and finally, a blind hog finds a nut sometimes. Am I right? Finette, as always, how are you doing? Good to see you in the chat. We're gonna start going. You know what I should have done? I should have taken these damn things off, because they're really hard to get your fingers under. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. All right, hold on. The ones that are on top, the clamps that are on top, it's really hard to get your knuckles underneath it. So you kind of have to loosen those up here, but then they fall off when you try to do the whole. You ready? They're gonna jiggle around, jangle around. Yep. Oh, there it goes. Yep, there it went. What did I tell you? There could be a better way to do that. There just could be. We'll figure it out on the next one. That's the whole talented, I don't know, but you make mistakes every time you do anything if you don't do it correctly. And then when you make those mistakes, it's very clear what you need to do next time quite often. So really crank these things down, which is good. That's how you know you're gonna get tight seams. It's a mixture. I mean, you need a lot of clamping pressure, and you can kind of, I don't know, you can kind of like, not cover up mistakes, but you can remedy mistakes in a glue up by just clamping the ever-living hell out of it. The real detail that you need to nail for a good clamp or a good glue up is completely flat edges between planks. These days, the tool to do that in a shop is a jointer, which you can't see, but it's right over there. It just makes wood extremely flat. And I used to, when I was doing glue ups, I would joint my own wood to try to make these pieces, the edges, extraordinarily flat. However, about, I don't know, 2 years ago or so, I found out that my lumber mill, you can pay them to do that. And I have been paying them to do that ever since. It's kind of expensive. Like if you just go buy the raw wood, I want to say that a good estimate is the actual wood price is about 1/2 of the total price you'll pay if you get them to perfectly flatten the tops, flatten the bottoms, flatten the right edge, flatten the left edge. So like, you kind of, I don't know, to me it's worth it, because like the amount of time that I'd have to take to do that myself, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be really, really crazy. How far are you with the blue panels? No worries. I got 9 of them done. These 9. They look really good. I was just saying that I have 45 of them to do in total. And we got 9 of them done yesterday. I think I've got a better system now, so we should be rolling. But I got 9 of them done. And right now, Finette, and for everyone else who's just joining, who didn't hear us kind of yapping earlier, I am trying to get a glue up done on this bar top really quickly so that it can set over the weekend and then I can put a finish on it Monday, because all of this is due Tuesday. I like to have my Rubio monocoat set for hopefully 2 nights before I deliver it. But I can tell you that the Rubio monocoat is already quite dry. So if I put a finish on things Monday, it's going to be totally cool by Tuesday. Right on. So what we need to do here, I don't know if you recall from yesterday, but the glue up, part of the challenge of glue ups is trying to get the planks that you're gluing together to be perfectly vertically in line with one another. The way you do that, for sure, on the money every single time, is by using dominoes, which are little domino-shaped pieces of wood that go into the side, the edges of 2 planks, and then you have holes in the other one, and it fits together, and so you have perfect vertical alignment. I did not do that because I was able to kind of bend things and make them go the way I wanted them to go, but now that I've done that, I have to sand that glue up to where I get everything perfectly level. And I only really need to do that for the top of it because the bottom of it is going to be on a base. So the bottom, I'm just gonna kind of do to like establish a flat surface. I'm not gonna get it to 100% smooth. The top I will get to 100% smooth. Hopefully, we started off at 3/4 of an inch thick. Hopefully I can keep it like 5/8, which is 0.625. So just taking off like 1/8 of an inch, which is like that much. That's the goal. That's what we're gonna do. This is called a drum sander right here. Q&A, that's cool. Dogs or cat people? I don't know if you guys see that. Maybe it's just me, because I'm the one doing the live, but I don't know, there's a Q&A option that I could have just thrown up there. Anyway, I'm gonna use this drum sander. I feed, that piece of wood through here, and I can raise the drum higher or lower. And in doing so, it doesn't make pieces of wood flat like the jointer does, this yellow one back here. This makes it a common thickness throughout. So if you had like a curve the whole way, when you feed it in, it would still have the curve, but it would just be a common thickness. So little distinction there. Every single tool does a really specific thing. The reason I need this one is because I can get 25 inches, 25 inches worth of stuff in here, and technically even bigger, because that half of it is open, so I could like flip it around. The jointer back here is only 8 inches, so I can't joint that thing. I have to run it through the drum sander. And this is a small one. They have huge ones, which I would love to get, but they're probably like 25 grand, and they would take up most of the shop. So anyway, does it sand the top and the bottom at the same time? It only sands the top. The conveyor belt down here just kind of feeds it through, and so you do have to keep flipping it. There's a little bit of a feel for it to where you kind of have to sand one side, and you establish a little bit of a flat surface, and you can sand the other side, and you keep going back and forth. But yeah, it only does one at a time. So you'll see me, I think 25 grand. I mean, it's no less than 20, I can assure you that. But the amount of time that it saves is crazy. Like, I don't doubt the amount of time that I would have saved by having one the entire time I've been doing this business would amount to probably that much. I don't doubt it at all. That being said, I don't have one. For the longest time, I had a hookup. There was another woodworking company that was kind of nearby that had one. And technically I was in competition with this company. They made custom woodworking, mostly like cabinets and countertops. Technically I was in competition with them. They had a massive shop and they had a huge drum. It's called a wide belt sander. And you could stick a whole tabletop up to like 50 inches wide, and you could just feed it in there and it just eat it, and it would shave off the tiniest meticulous layers. If your plank is uneven in width, this machine will fix it. No, this machine will not fix side to side width. So this guy right here is currently 16.5 inches wide. It will always stay that way no matter how many times I put it through here. Right now, this is about 3/4 of an inch thick, but it's a little uneven from plank to plank. Oh my God, plank to plank to plank. And this machine is going to even it out and make a flat surface on top, and then eventually when I flip it, on bottom. I've turned on my dust collection. This hose connects to it because this thing does make a lot of sawdust. Yes, thickness, yeah, you got it, Finette. It just can make it however thick you want. I can't add thickness, but yes, it evenly thickens everything. The other thing about it is the drum inside of here. I'll show you real fast, why not? The drum inside of here, it's not a, see it? There you go. It's not a drum that already comes as a sandpaper. It's just this metal tube, and then you have a roll of sandpaper that is cut in a certain way to where you can spiral the sandpaper, lock it in on the other side, and then I'll show you real fast what it looks like. Keep your hands clear. Then it just goes, and you feed things through there, and that whole apparatus goes up and down. You can change out the grits on that sandpaper. I used to have it on something extremely gritty. It's actually 36 grit, which is like, it basically feels like you're on, I don't know, gravel. This is very, very fine. I wish I didn't have to make it this fine, but alas, That is the only sandpaper I had other than 36 grit. So you turn on the conveyor belt, and so now this is just kind of feeding it in there, and then I would turn that on. This hose sucks out the dust, and it goes into the dust collection right over there. One thing that I need to do really quickly is my dust collection port vent keeps closing on me, so I gotta jam it with some, there's like a little door. I gotta jam the door in the up position. Is that a decent view? Will I still be able to receive this? Close that one. Okay. And then we are going to put this at just over 3/4 of an inch, because even though all the planks are 3/4 of an inch, because they're high and low in some points, it's probably thicker than that. And the main thing I'm doing is I'm actually listening, because I can't see what's going on there, so I'm listening to hear, is that about the right amount of like contact with the sandpaper and the tabletop? This is gonna be a little complicated because this thing's so damn long. We're gonna try it. How heavy are you? That's pretty heavy. There's also things inside of the drum sander that help to kind of grab it. Ah! Oh, it's a bad splinter. Ah! Ow! Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Oh man, that was a terrible splinter. And it's grabbing it right now, so unfortunately I have to see this one through. And then after this, I'm going to try to get that splinter out because I am bleeding. So once it gets about halfway, then you gotta go to the other side and kind of catch it. Wow. That's the splinter. We're gonna get that in a moment. I hope I have tweezers today. I remember seeing the tweezers that I thought, so that didn't touch it at all. Just kind of a bummer. We also need to make sure I don't bleed on the piece. Okay. Hey gang, I never even turned on the sanding part of it. So that's why we weren't sanding. All right, do I have a splinter removing set of tweezers over here? This is my first aid kit. You can't see a damn thing right there. All right. First aid kit. Oh man. Shoot. I'm a little worried that I took my tweezers home, which would have been just the dumbest move. Okay. If you're just tuning in, I have just gotten a pretty bad splinter. I'm bleeding from my splinter, and I'm looking for tweezers, but I don't know if I have any, because I might have taken my tweezers home with me. Hold on. In one of my more recent Instagram posts, Jesus hurts, I showed a montage of me removing a splinter. Oh man. Do I really not have a set of tweezers right now? This one hurts. Some of them, like, they look bad, but they don't hurt that much. This one really, like, stings, which is a bummer. Sometimes I have two sets of tweezers. I'm also gonna need to get the hair sort it out. Okay. What are the chances? What are the chances there's a set of tweezers in here? Please. Please. Yeah. Huh! I can't even see it, but if I start digging at it, I'm sure I could feel it. Like, I remember seeing the tweezers that I'm looking for on my kitchen counter. And now I'm just hoping that I have 2 sets of tweezers, but I'm not sure if I do. What a terrible start to our live stream. There's so much dust over here. Oh, man. So anyway, how are we doing, gang? I remember I had 2 tweezers. Oh, wait. Are they up here? Tweezers? Nope. Shoot. Anyone have any alternatives for tweezers? They're like under here or something? Oh, hold on. No. They might be like in a bag somewhere. Wow, this one hurts. Sorry, gang. This is we got a message held for suck it out like snake venom. I could masks and goggles potentially. No. Huh. I might just have to roll with it. It really sucks, but I don't know what else to do here. That's not... Like, I remember there being one in the pins and the pencils box. Set of tweezers. Oh! Woo! Ha-ha! Okay. Now I gotta see this damn thing. These are terrible tweezers. Let's see if I can get you here. Target acquired. Maybe not. Where are we bleeding from? I can't even see it. This is not going well. I'm using eye saline. What's going on, Davey? Davey, if you're just tuning in right now, on the first pass, I see it. On the first pass of trying to sand something, I just got a very deep splinter. It just went straight in. I can't even see the damn thing. It went vertically. It didn't go like you hope when they go kind of sideways. Oh, this might be a work through it sort of day. Yeah, I'm wondering. Woo. That's a real bummer. We might just have to roll with it, gang. Because I think the people want their woodworking. All right, we're gonna roll with it. Cool. What a great start. Didn't turn on the damn sander. Get a splinter on the first pass. All right. We're gonna try it again. We're gonna try this again. Ow. We need a little bit more room over here. We don't have that luxury. All right. Okay. Let's try not to get two splinters. That's about the right noise that we want. It's just taking a little bit off. You're supposed to probably have in feeds and out feeds, but I can never get them set quite the right height. So I just grab it with my hands because I feel like I have more control over it. Perfect. Okay. Now the trick is we have to bring this back over here. Then we have to change the height of this. And I'm essentially dropping the height about 1/64th, somewhere between 1/64th and 1/28th of an inch. You can't take much off with this guy. It's not a super powerful sander. And the other thing about it is I have a grit on there that's too fine of a grit. I didn't have anything else because I haven't drum sanded anything in a while. Once it gets about halfway, support both sides and come to the other side. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I'm able to see where my sandpaper is coming into contact with the wood right now. I can see the high spots, I can see the low spots. Now, I probably should have cut this to its final length because we're over the length that we need to be at right now. Not by a whole lot, by like 8 inches, but every little bit helps. So I'm gonna go a little more aggressive with this next pass now that we've kind of established things. I might have been a little aggressive. When I can feel the machine working too hard, the conveyor belt slows down. It has like some auto detection. Yeah, I went pretty aggressive with that one. And if you go too aggressive, the thing that can happen is you can actually burn your wood, and you can just kind of absolutely screw up the sandpaper. And right now we have one sandpaper. So my goal is to not do that. Once I get a couple more passes, I think probably 2 more passes, Come on. I'm not quite, right now, I'd say I'm probably like 40 or 50% of the total surface area sanded. I think I want to get to like 60% or so. And once I'm at 60% and I have a flat surface established, I'm going to flip it over to get the bottom. I've been doing the top right now. And once I get the bottom, then I have a nice surface on bottom. So whatever's getting sanded on top is really, really nice. Because right now, the surface is riding on the conveyor belt. It's uneven. I haven't sanded any of it. So I bet you the machine's having a little bit of a tough time figuring out kind of where to ride on, where to settle. I think I'm lifting it too high up right now also. But now I'm seeing that like, I'm getting pretty close to maybe 50, 60%. So there's part of me that wants to flip this. Again, this is the top side that we're doing right now. Really don't want, to burn your sandpaper. Each roll of sandpaper is about $30. And so if you burn it, you just waste $30. And burning it just comes from being too aggressive with your turns. So I'm gonna flip it over. Now that we kind of have a nice surface established on top, that nice surface that we've established can better ride on this, and the sander has a better shot at really flattening what will now be the bottom. And we're just trying to establish a really good bottom so that when we finish the top on the sander, it's perfect. So we're gonna flip it. Because like, before I start really sanding things, I still have glue bumps, like dried up glue knobs. And the whole thing's like riding on whatever. So it could be riding on just these uneven glue knobs. So we want to just establish a nice flat surface on bottom so that when we go back to the top, we're riding on a good, flat, solid surface, and that's how we're gonna get a good finish on top. Okay. And this is probably about the biggest piece. Oops, I might have hit you there. This is probably about the biggest piece that I can do in a machine like this. Like if you get the wood too thick and it's too heavy and you don't have good control over it, you don't have a good like in-feed and out-feed, this machine's just not big enough and powerful enough to deal with that. This stuff is perfect, like this guy's perfect for charcuterie boards and cutting boards and things like that. So I don't really use it all that often anymore because I don't do a whole lot of those. Easy. And again, this is the bottom, so I do not need, he's very thick in the middle. I can feel it really struggling right now. I don't need 100% surface on the bottom. I kind of just need the perimeter. So, and no, you know what? I don't even need the perimeter. Really, I'm just trying to establish a flat surface So then when I go back to the top, we are, I keep hitting the damn camera. Can you guys even see anymore? Yeah, you can see. Okay. I also need to tie up the hair. Okay. I think I'm gonna do 2 more passes on this side. This being the first one. It gets really thick in the middle here. Alright, it's still moving. It's still moving. Just barely moving, but it's still moving. How are we doing? Alright, then I'm going to do one more. One more pass on this side, and then I'll be happy enough with the how flat it is on bottom. Yeah, I think I'm on 220 grit on the sandpaper, which is way, way, way too fine for what I'm trying to do. Oh, I got aggressive on that one. I really took that down a lot. It's all right. If we can get through, that'd be great. Go, little buddy. Yeah, I dropped the drum further than I should have. You see how slow we're moving? I really hope I don't burn it. Oh man. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right, we made it, but that wasn't pretty. Wow, that was aggressive. That would have been fine if I would have had like 100 grit on there, even like 120 grit. Like 120 or 120, or 100 grit or 120 is a decent grit if you're trying to like actually take off dimension. What I have right now is more like, okay, it's plain to a common thickness. Now just try to get it smoother. So not ideal, but that's okay. Okay, now we're on the top again. Good grief. All right. And I'm getting down like this so that I can see if I'm feeding it in parallel to the ground. I might not have been for the first part of it, because now we're going smoother. This also might be one where I get the majority of it with this, but then, I don't know, get the rest of it. Like I see one part right here in the middle where it'll take a little bit to get through that height disparity. And I don't know how many passes that's going to take. Let's go. There you go. So the whole dominoes thing, which helps align planks side to side at the correct height, that makes it so this process that I'm doing right now goes quicker. And honestly, like the height to height difference that I have right now is pretty good, but it's just a lot of wood to get through. Oh man, come on. It's like the front of it is so thick. The ends are both good. It's just this middle, right where we're passing through right now. There's one little spot. Everywhere else the seams are the same height. Right here, and it's not much anymore. They make super nimble woodworking gloves. Yeah, probably. I've never really worked with gloves on because I just don't feel like I have the same feel for things. And especially when you're like using tools and stuff. I don't know, like this is an exaggeration here, but you can kind of understand the concept of it. Like if you were gonna draw a picture, let's say drawing a picture had inherent dangers like splinters. No matter like what kind of gloves you wore, it's just a little different than if your hands are just bare. Alright. I think I'm gonna do like 2 more passes and whatever it is, I'm just gonna call it there. Because we do have to kind of go. Man, I don't know why the front of this is so, like it feels like it's so thick. Like I hit the front of it and the machine just winces. But then right about here, it feels like the machine kind of gets back in charge again. And right there is where I need it to really take off some good material. Yeah, we'll keep going. Can you see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Right here, right there. That's where we haven't quite hit. And it'll probably be like on one pass, you get there. And I just don't know which pass that's going to be. Come on. Out of curiosity, how is the audio right now? Because like for me, the machine is super loud, but I know that I've got a mic on my lapel here. So the bottom will have to be completely sanded before you flip it again to finish the top. No, actually. If you were making a table, okay, audio is fine, that's good. If you're making a table and you really wanted to have like the nicest of nice tables, yeah, you'd want to make sure that the bottom surface and the top surface are both sanded to 100%. But for this, I know the bottom of this will never be seen by anybody, and so I'm not really worried about that. I'm just trying to make sure the top is sanded to 100%. We're gonna do 2 more passes, whatever it is, it is. because then we'll need to go to the next step of this. And we need to start finishing panels. It's also really interesting, like, I suppose the whole splinter debacle that was going on like 15 minutes ago, that wasn't super exciting. But like, it's really interesting to look at the numbers of views, or like people in the live chat, or sorry, just the whole live stream, and compare like day to day. And I know there's this really, really, really fine algorithms that YouTube is looking at to see whether or not they want to push the live to more people. Come on. There's a... Good. And I'm sure it has to do with like average view duration and all sorts of stuff like that. And it must just be like significantly different enough today to where YouTube just isn't pushing this live video as much. Because yesterday we were at like a few hundred at times, and today we're kind of hovering around like 20 people. It's just really interesting. Like, I don't know how much of that was from, I guess you could call it the inactivity when I was getting the splinter out, and how much of that is just like this process that I'm doing right now maybe isn't as flashy or something. I'm not positive. All right, this is gonna be the last one that we do no matter what, because we gotta keep going. We can always sand that more on Monday, but we do have to keep going quickly. So we'll go one more, we'll be aggressive with it. If it breaks, it breaks. And we're just gonna see how much of that one spot in the middle we can try to even out. I can tell you the seams of this glue up look really good. Like, I see absolutely no gaps between any of the seams. So that's awesome. And because this is our last one, we're going to be really careful not to wobble it and have any sort of weird little bumps. Yeah, we didn't quite make it there, but that's going to be okay. Can you see that one little spot in the middle that we didn't get? And yes, it is very smooth with the 220 grit. Now, you know what? I want to do it one more time. The amount of time it's going to take me to sand out that one little uneven spot by hand is so much longer than it's going to take me to go a pass or two more. I apologize if it's not the most exciting thing. We're going to do some exciting stuff in like 5 minutes here. Ooh, that was aggressive. That was very aggressive. I don't know if you guys can hear the difference in the machine sometimes. Like, when it hit, it was hurting. I can't see yet. It might be burning. That was extremely aggressive. Is it burning? I'm going to see a black streak if it is burning. I don't think it's burning, but good grief. Okay, this is the part we really want to take off a lot. I'm actually gonna just kind of press the top of the board into the sander just a little bit more. I'm kind of flexing the board. I know that's not making it purely flat, but that's all right. Come on. Come on. I'm having to pull it right now. Like the conveyor belt's not really working because it's so, I dropped the drum a lot that time. So the conveyor belt's not even really pushing it. It's only going because I'm really pulling right now. All right, we're gonna call it here. We gotta keep moving. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah. All right, and I can hear it. I don't know if you hear a new noise now. I do, in person. I can hear that something has gone awry with the that belt in the actual drum sander. I'll show you here. Here's what's going on. So I'm gonna turn it off. Turn off the conveyor belt. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Is the spot because the glue up or the way they milled the planks? Totally on the glue up. It's on me. I did not have a perfect height to height glue up. So what's going on is yeah, this just got a little bit loose. And so it was just flapping in the wind. All right, we're good with that. What we have to do now is we have to add the aprons to this thing. Well, actually, first we have to cut it to length. So we're gonna do that really quickly. We'll do it right here. Cool. Let's get some of this stuff off. This, I promise I will throw this away. Don't think that I'm just littering. Okay. Now I want to put that on here. And then what I'm gonna do is put this guy on the table. Ow. Okay, we need to cut off part of it. We need this thing, it's like 120 inches right now, and we want to get it to like 112 and a half. I'm just looking at it. There's nothing wrong with this side whatsoever. There is something wrong with the other side. So I'm going to try to keep as much of this side and just barely shave it off so that it's flat. And then I'm going to cut off the rest of it from the other side. So the way we will do this is we're going to get a flat edge, a straight edge, right there. I had a pencil. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit unorganized today in this stream. Shoot, where the hell did that pencil go? We're gonna keep you guys updated too with how this splinter turns out. I'm not sure if it's a splinter or a puncture wound. Like it could have just been that essentially the splinter went directly in and then just kind of like didn't stay in there. So anyway, I want to right angle to this and I'm just gonna shave off the least possible. Oh, fuck. There we go. Awesome. And then I want you guys to guess what tool you think I'm going to use to cut that. And you have 3 seconds because I'm about to do it anyway. Yeah, I can't tell if there's a splinter in there. You probably, yeah, it's not gonna focus on that. All right, I'm using a track saw. Good guessing, everybody. Okay. It's a little weird because the track saw is so long. So I really do like my track saw quite a bit. But sometimes I feel as if it just kind of, it struggles a little bit when cutting through dense hardwood, especially things like this, white oak or pecan. Like plywood, it tears through. And I just can't remember when I got this exact track saw, if I splurged for, yeah, miter saw would have been a really good one too. I don't know if my miter saw can get through 16.5 inches. It'd be close, I'm pretty sure. The other thing is, believe it or not, I don't want to throw up a whole lot of dust right now, and my miter saw throws up dust. And the last thing is, it's way tucked back there. So I'm just gonna use a track saw. But yeah, I don't know if I could have gotten a beefier track saw that is like specifically made for hardwood. I know that there were two options of track saw that I was looking at when I bought this one from Festool, and I got the more powerful of the two. I just don't remember if there was like even beefier guys. That should be good. Not taking off much here. And I'm gonna make a few passes. Perfect. Okay, we have to do a little bit of math here. So, the entire piece, I'll bring you over. Oh, this is gonna be totally backwards for you guys, but I'll show you anyway. The entire piece needs to be 112.5 inches, right? And the way I'm doing these table skirts is I'm actually going to squeeze them from the actual edges. And so that means we're going to be subtracting 2 times 0.75, which actually is, of course, 1.5. So that's what we need to subtract to get the actual length of this that we need to cut. So 112.5 minus 1.5 is going to be 111. That is the magic number for how long this thing needs to be. Did I do that math right? Can you read that at all? Probably not, unless you are. I'm gonna also tie up the hair, gang. How we doing? How we doing in the chat? Is this just kind of a hang in there, have some nice woodworking going on in the background sort of vibes? People at work, what's going on? All right, 111. Let's flip this thing. This is why I have those planks underneath here. Because I will need that. When I make my 111 cut, let's not hit anything, let's not hit anything. Awesome. When I make my 111-inch cuts, I don't want the end that I'm cutting off to just fall to the ground. So if I put these 2x4s underneath it, then they support it so that when I finally pass through, it's supported at least some. It's not gonna be perfect, but it is supported some. Hey, my pencil! It was underneath the thing. Ow, man, I think there is a splinter in there. It hurts too much just to be a puncture wound. 111. Right there. We'll do a few marks so we know we're not going crazy. 11. One more at the end. Come on. And 111. Cool, cool, cool. All right. And because we can, we'll make this. Right there. Good enough. Awesome. Okay. Same thing, same thing. See that? See how it caught it? Wasn't that sick? Awesome. That is now the correct length. Cool. So what we have to do now is we have to add the aprons to this. So the aprons are basically the part of the bar top that makes it thicker, because right now that's pretty thin and kind of, I don't know, just not very robust, like a good bar top. So we have to add on basically a perimeter that hangs down, and then that's going to give it the appearance that it's much thicker. But they wanted it to be super light, so that's why we're not actually making it a super thick top. Also, it's not for like a home that's going to be used forever and always, so we don't really need it to be that thick, and it cut down on a lot of costs too. That's why we're doing it this way. The way we have to do this is we do have to play a little bit of Jenga here. What do we call it? Traffic jam. Here is what we need to do. I need that tool right here. So I need to move this tool somewhere else. Let me turn off some of these things so that it's not as noisy. Let's see if we can sort this out. Okay. The dust collection right here has the tiniest wheels out of any tool that has ever been invented. So the smallest thing on the ground prevents it from moving, which is so frustrating. But anyway, we need to make the apron, and this is the piece of wood that we're going to make the apron out of. But to do that, we need to cut it in half. That's why we need the table saw. We are good with this thing now. It's done. So let's drag him out of the way. Yikes. All right. Let's drag him out of the way. We also need to kind of quit woodworking and throwing up a lot of sawdust, because it's not like getting in the finish and messing up the finish, but I just see some dust getting on those things, and you can get it off, you can wipe it off. It's not like it's, caked in with like wet finish or something like that, but it's just, I don't know, I don't want to have to like dust off a lot of stuff. Okay, we need this guy. And we're going, does this fit sideways? I bet it can if we give it some room. We need to cut our plank in half. Oh, we might have an issue here. How long is this extension cord? This has to get plugged into the 220 volt plug. I only have one of those in the shop, and it's in a specific spot, so I need to know if this can even fit. Okay. It's got to go like this, I suppose, then. Can that close? There's probably 10 feet behind us. Come on. What are we stuck on? Like the dust collection is just so hard to move. All right. I know there's 10 feet on that side. Okay. Here's the extension cord. We're plugged in. It's a Christmas miracle. Now we plug the dust collection into that guy. Great. And this dude needs to be, we'll get you in a better spot now. All right, is the plank, let's see, for the side already sanded, or do I do that after? That's a great question. So the planks, they're actually all sanded when I get them originally. They have been what's called surfaced, to where it's an S4S piece of lumber. And I think S4S stands for surfaced on 4 sides. So that means the top is really smooth, that means the bottom's really smooth, the left's really smooth, the right's really smooth, and this is a standard cut of lumber that's a 1x6, meaning the actual dimension that you get is 3/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches. It's not actually 1x6, it's a little bit less than that. So when I get these pieces of wood, they are already surfaced, meaning they're already really, really smooth on all the sides. They're not sanded, but they're already really smooth with a jointer. And the reason I had to sand those is not because they weren't smooth enough, but it's because the planks were at slightly different heights with that glue up. So I will do a little bit of sanding on it later, but it's not a huge deal to sand it before the end. And it will be a true 3/4 of an inch thick. Now that plank glue up that we just did is a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch because we sanded it. So I know that the planks are 5.5 inches. 5.5 divided by 2 is 5 3/4. Did I do that right? I think so. What do we think? Is that? I like that. I mean, it'll be a little thicker than most things, but it'll make it look nice and thick and robust. So I like that. We just split it in half, make one cut. So the bar is going to look like it's 2.5. It's just a little bit for the blade, inches thick, which again is thicker than most lumber would be for a bar, but whatever. It's good. So we have that. The saw stop is ready to go. I do want to have, I don't know, maybe this guy back here. I think this guy's going to be important. He's just a little catcher for the piece of lumber once it gets all the way over here, because it would just be dangling. And I don't have, so that saw that I was working on, it had rollers in it that are constantly, or the conveyor belt is constantly going, right? And that's what kind of keeps feeding the wood into the sander. But this guy doesn't have that. I have to be pushing it at all times. And because of that, I have to stay on the in-feed side of it. So I need something on the out-feed side of it to grab it. And that is what this guy will do. That's probably good, like right there. Try that. Okay. Let's bring down the blade just a little bit. We don't need him to be that crazy up there. We're at 0 degrees, so perfectly vertical. Cool. And then we have to cut not only the long 10-foot piece, but then we will have to also cut the 2 end pieces as well. Why don't we put you on the other side? That could be a cool view. hold on. Sorry. Here we go. Right there. How's that view? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. We need to plug in our dust collection because this thing does collect dust. There it is. Cool. All right. Oh. All right. Where are my safety things?
Check this one more time. 2.5, we get you 5. Plus a quarter, 5.5. Okay. Unfortunately,
It looks like my dust collection bag maybe has sprung a leak or something, because it's just like spewing dust. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. How are we doing? Anything in the chat? Doesn't look like it. Cool. Okay, we're gonna move these to the side because we have to cut the end pieces as well. We're getting really close to having this thing glued up. So these just come over here. And then I'm gonna pick one of the, yeah, we'll pick this guy. He's too pretty, actually. We'll pick this guy. No one's really gonna see this part, so. These are for the end pieces. That's the long strips that'll go along the long edges, but.
this dude is for those 2 small end pieces. That's not quite as far. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Awesome. Now, unfortunately, I was saying how I wasn't going to use my miter saw, but I kind of want to use my miter saw because I have to cut these to really specific. Luke, who's that in the back window? That's Steve. He's just back there. He comes and goes. He steals things. He's cool. We've gotten a couple fights before, but he's a cool dude. Thank you, though, for telling me about that, Luke. I appreciate it. Cool. All right. Let's see. So what I need to do is I need to cut the things that I just cut. You keeping well, you mate? I am, Luke. Keeping well, you mate. All right. What I need to do is I need to move the saw that I just was using, because I do have to use the miter saw, unfortunately, because I got to cut all of those things to specific lengths. So that's what we're going to try to do now really quickly. We need these. Then we're going to set up the miter saw so that it tries to blow all of the dust that it can just out the door, not onto the panels that we've been working hard on. Let's get the table saw out of the way. Let's get the dust collection not freaking blowing dust everywhere. Get the hose off that. Okay, there's the miter saw. This dude can keep coming over this way. This is traffic jam. This is the game. This is what we've been training for. We will organize this later when we are not on live. Okay, we might need this guy. So we will put him over there. Cool. Oh, look out! We're running things over. There's cords every which way. Got it. Is that enough room for the miter saw to get out of the hole that it's currently in? Let's see. The dust collection can slide back right there. His tubes come over there. Awesome. Okay. Don't knock that off. Cool. We got the miter saw, gang. Let's just move these long pieces of wood. These are the guys we actually need to cut. All right. Here's the cord we can use. The fan is trying to just make it to where there's less ambient dust flying around every which way. It's not doing a perfect job, but it's doing the best that it can. And then this will need to be on the other side. And unfortunately, this is a different height than the table saw. So let's see where that needs to be cut. Is there any side I want to get rid of? I think I want to get rid of that side. Cool. Awesome. Scoot it back just a little bit. I don't think that's going to really matter. Put the brakes on. This guy needs to get raised. That's flat enough. Okay. Now, the way, shoot, we have to flip this. When you get it from the actual North Wales, right on. Good to have you here, man. When you get pieces of lumber from the lumber store, they typically don't have like really nice, flat, clean cuts on the end. So I have to make one clean cut on the end so that when I measure the correct distance, it's perfect. So I do have to flip this around to get my one clean cut right here. I don't need to take off much. It's like, you know, that's not going to turn on. Until you plug it in, they don't like to turn on. Okay. We're in. We are on. And then awesome. Now, I don't really want to measure this with a tape measurer. What I want to do is I want to measure it according to the actual piece. That is going to be the most precise way to get the exact lineup, you know? So the way to do this is let's put this on. And hopefully it just kind of sits there. Okay. You want to make sure that we are as lined up as possible. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. And then make a mark. Okay, now we have a mark. I made a mark, right? Yeah. Now we can cut this thing to the exact length. Unfortunately, the mark isn't on the correct side, but that's all right. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's overshoot it. Let's overshoot it, he says, as he undershoots it. How'd that table get? Yeah, the table was good a few weeks back. Is that conference table, that pecan conference table, I think is what you're talking about? It went very well. So thanks for asking. I actually just got paid for it, even though I delivered it like a month and a half ago. So that was kind of a bummer, but that's okay. Okay, that is on the front edge. They really should be the exact same front edge to back edge, but you know, I'll just keep it from the exact place that I measured it in case there is a slight difference. That one looks really good. Shoot, I didn't cut that exactly how I wanted to cut that. That's okay. I wanted to make the front panel the one that went all the way across, and then I wanted to make the side panels fit inside of that. But unfortunately, I just made it to where the front panel ends with where the top ends, and now you'll see the end grain kind of butt end of the planks on the sides. Dang, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not overly concerned about that, but that is a little bit of a bummer, not gonna lie. Because the reason I wanted to do that is if you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. That'll be the back. That'll be the back. No, I'm just gonna do it the same way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That is not a detail that matters. So we're cutting off the end. And we're going to take it to the workpiece. Let's get an exact measurement. Ha. Ha. I wonder what time it is. I wonder how I'm doing on time. I have to finish a lot of panels with the blue finish today. And I'm very happy to be doing this live with you right here. But I need to get to the blue panels stat. And this bar top is taking longer than maybe I would have wanted it to. That's okay. It's okay, we're just going. We're doing it. We're going and we are doing it. Ah! There's the side. Okay. After I get these, we're gonna glue them on, and then we're gonna do something for the end pieces. Okay. Awesome. Okay, here we go. We still need the miter saw, for sure. Dana, how's it going? Welcome back. No bad actors, but we did see Steve, our friend, outside in the window. He's just joshing with us, so I'm not too worried about Steve this time. Okay, here's what we have to do. Here's what we have to do. We need the saw. This is a little wiggly. Hold on, let me do something real fast to improve that. That's the one thing about this camera stand. There's one screw that, like, for whatever reason, just kind of gets loose really quickly. It's all right. So we got to move this out of the way. I always feel like I'm a barber in a barber salon, you know, doing the chair thing. We're moving this out of the way. It is now moved out of the way. Awesome. Then, let's move this thing out of the way. Let's move this guy out of the way a little bit. We still need the miter saw because we're going to cut something in a second. However, we're going to set up the glue rack once again. Trying to think how to do this. The way, all right, here we go. If we stay right here, I'm gonna start putting the clamps back over there. So we need the clamps again for the second glue up of our bar table. We will go diagonal. Yeah, we'll go diagonal. Because I don't even know if we could make it if we're not diagonal. We need probably a similar amount of clamps. Not necessarily for clamping pressure, because it's going to be super difficult to clamp, but almost the other way, that it's so easy to clamp that if you don't clamp it everywhere universally, you might have a few spots that kind of like drift away. I don't know if that made sense at all. We're clamping these aprons onto the main body of this thing. And to do that, we're just gonna, it's gonna look a lot like it did yesterday, but it's just a different glue up here. So we have to do it upside down, which is not ideal, because then I won't be able to see exactly what I'm doing. But that's okay. I can feel it with my heart and my soul. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's grab the workpiece. We're in a decent spot here. Yeah, we're in a decent spot there. This, go right here. Okay, ah! All right, time to be a hero. So we're going face down with this thing, because that's the only way it's going to be able to really sit on the clamps. There we go. My hand is directly on one of the clamps. Nice. And we flip it. Remember, it's face down. Awesome. Cool. Then, I do not remember which side is which. That's all right. Is there a side that I want in and out? this is the side I want out. I'll show you, I'll get you a closer view in here in just a second. Come on. Okay. I'll bring you over. Oh, is it gonna work perfectly? Now that I'm realizing it. Okay. That's a decent spot. Great. And the other piece, right here. Is there a side that I want up or down, in or out? Let's have this side going. It doesn't matter. That side's in. Perfect. Just like this. Shoot. Okay. I need just a little bit of room over here. So he's going to go like this. Can you fit everywhere? You can't fit right here. All right. You can't fit either. Okay. Awesome. So now you're in. And you, sir, are also in. Cool. We need some glue. I wonder. I'm trying to remember where my glue is. I know I have some over here, but it's the rolly kind, and I don't know if I want the rolly kind. This is the one I was using yesterday. And if you were here yesterday, I was complaining about how this gets so gummed up. And you gotta get new ones, like, so frequently. But that's all right. What time is it? 12:52? All right. We're gonna try to get this done in like 15 minutes here. I'm gonna eat a banana, and we're gonna finish some panels for you guys. That's the goal. Oops. Okay, yeah, we can just take this whole thing off. Then, if I was a better content creator, I'd be getting ASMR content of this this dried glue peeling off of this silicone roller. But alas, that's gonna be good enough. I will have to do some sanding because I'm sure I'm going to get glue in places it's not supposed to be. It's all right. That's good enough. It's gonna be just fine. Let me get you a better view now of the glue up that I'm trying to do, because right now you're probably too high to see actually what's going on. Okay. Awesome. There. Cool. Should be pretty straightforward. I'm gonna get glue in places that it should not be for sure, but that's all right. So I need to glue him and him. And then, same thing, this is another area where dominoes would actually help. Like I could put dominoes in these side pieces, like on the face of these side pieces, and I could put dominoes in the edge grain of the planks, and I could have perfect vertical alignment the entire way. I'm just going to kind of feel it and see if I'm like overhanging or anything for this project. There, hopefully, is enough glue, and all I need to do is just get a little bit. Oh, I'm already making a mess. Just need to get a little bit right where it's going. Oh no, that's a bummer. There's one little area that isn't perfectly flat and surfaced where I will be trying to make this joint. So we're gonna have a gap on top that I'm gonna have to fill with probably wood glue and sawdust, but that's okay, it's gonna be very small. Okay. And we gotta do both of them at the same time. And here's a concept that I'm gonna introduce to you right now while I'm working on this. So, as much as we would like to think that wood is a stable, dimensionally stable material that doesn't really move, we all kind of intuitively know that that's just not true. Because like really old tables or certain things have cracks in them, and that's because as wood takes on moisture in the air or releases moisture back into the air because it's super dry out, wood moves around, it warps, it cracks, etc. And it does it in specific directions, but not all directions. So what that means is you have to know, come on, which way wood wants to expand and contract to make sure that you are not essentially going against what it naturally wants to do. That is the introduction to the lesson. And I'll tell you why that matters in a second. I'm just getting things set on this side. Okay, that looks pretty good. You could raise up just a little bit. I just want to put a little bit of pressure. Cool. Just a little bit of pressure. Cool. All right, now we just go down the line and we make sure that at every point we are vertically aligned, as vertically aligned as possible. We're not going to get it perfect. We just want it to be pretty good. That feels pretty good. Right there. Feels great on the other side. We'll have to sand it for sure. But that's feeling nice. I'll flip it over in a little bit so you can actually see what this thing's going to look like. Okay, that feels great. Keep going. So the way that wood likes to expand and contract is these boards cannot get any longer or shorter based on how much moisture they take in or release. They will forever and always be the length that they are right now. However, these boards can get wider and narrower. That's the way that wood can expand and contract. Which way is that going? No, that's low. That feels pretty good. We're gonna have a little bit of height things on the other side, but we can always sand those. We're gonna have to sand things on Monday. Okay. Which way do you want to go? This guy needs to go. There we go. That was the right one. Oh, look, there's my blood from the splinter. Awesome. So yeah, these can get wider and they can get narrower. So by putting on this apron right here, we are not preventing the wood from being able to do that. And it will do that pretty much no matter what. No matter what you do to it, something's gonna give. That feels great. What you see me do with my hands is I'm trying to feel whether or not these things are even. Nope, that's not. That's pretty good. So the boards that I'm putting on right now, as I was saying, do not prevent the wood. Ooh, those feel good. do not prevent the wood from expanding and contracting this way. But, as you could guess, the wood on the end that I'm about to put on is a different story. Because that wood, like I said, the little end caps, they can't get any longer or shorter, right? They don't expand and contract that way. But this wood right here can get wider and narrower. So you have this battle when you put on wood going in different directions of one not wanting to move at all and one wanting to expand and contract with the seasons and humidity. Admittedly, I have not always known the extent of that, and I have not always made pieces so that they can do that. So I think that there are pieces I have made out in the wild that don't really adhere to kind of how you have to make things so that wood can expand and contract as it wants to without having contradicting expansion patterns, I suppose, is the best way I could describe that. And so you might be wondering, what are you going to do for this situation right here? And here's the honest truth of it. I'm going to do something that kind of addresses it. So that it can move a little bit. It's not very much. I think for over like 16.5 inches like this, it's not much. It's going to be like maybe a 32nd of an inch that it can expand and contract. But I'm basically going to screw it in, not glue it in, and I'm going to let the screws go directly into the tabletop, but I'm going to have them have some wiggle room in the backing pieces that they're going through. That's the goal. Let's see, would dominoes help with the expansion and prevent warping on the side? On the long ends, the long pieces attached to the long ends attached to the long sides of the tabletop, those can expand and contract all they want. They will be fine, because as the middle, planks expand out, it just, the side just goes with it. But when you have those end caps, and these things want to do this, right? But this grain it can only go like this. It can't get longer. You just have to make it to where this grain can kind of like move a little bit. Yeah. This is a project that I'm not too worried about that on, mostly just because of the fact that it's not like an heirloom piece that's going to be passed down for centuries. It's kind of a one and done sort of thing. I'm just sort of bringing it up right now. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. The way we're going to deal with this now is, let's measure this. I know that last time I actually put the piece on the thing, but he's okay. I am okay, thanks. Yeah. Right on. I'm just gonna measure this and then cut it, as opposed to doing what I did last time. Look at that, it's perfectly 18 inches. That's wonderful, because that's what we said it was going to be. Cool. 18 inches. All right. Get you back to the miter saw. Right on. And then we are going to use, I'm going to use this guy. He looks good enough. Remember, we have to cut off the ends because it's not perfectly square and flush. And then we're going to mark 18 inches with our pencil that I have miraculously not lost yet today. I lost it for a little while. Okay. 18. Right there. And this is just more technical stuff. I've made a mark at 18 inches. The blade, the right side of the blade has to be right on that mark. It can't be that the middle of the blade is on that mark, because then you're left with something that's not actually 18 inches. Sweet. And then I'm just gonna mark this with this. We kind of gotta go. I'll sand it if it's not quite right. We'll fix it in post, as they say. There's my 18. This guy's a good one. He goes there. Right side of the blade on the left side of the line. Cool. That's extra. These two are our guys. I don't love that. See that? We're gonna get rid of that. Make a new one. It's all right. We'll keep him. Feels like a nice piece of wood. I don't know what we'll do with it, but feels nice. Just make a new one. Awesome. There's the 18 inches mark. Right side of the blade on the, it's more like the center of the pencil line. The pencil line's not very thick. If anything, I guess it's the right side of the blade on the right side of the pencil line, because the right side of the pencil line is exactly where, yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. Cool, here's how we're gonna try to do this. Can we see this? Yeah, we'll bring you lower. Awesome. Okay. I'll bring you real low. I'll bring you real low. It took me a while to figure out the side of the, yeah! Yeah, if you put the blade, like the center of the blade and the center of the line, you're going to have a short dimension by half of the blade length, or the blade width, rather. And sometimes that doesn't matter at all, but sometimes it does matter. So let me grab my tools here. I'm just getting some screws, 1, 2, 3. I need like 8 screws. And you guys will get to see what I'm doing with the whole letting it float. This is gonna be kind of tricky. It's like a little difficult to do, but I just want to kind of demonstrate it. Part of the reason I'm doing this also, I might honestly like just have glued this, but for the fact that I have no clamps that could clamp that, I have nothing to grab onto. So I kind of have to screw it in. And no one's gonna see this, it's on the side that's up against the wall, so totally fine. Here's what I'm going to do. I put this in place, and it feels great. It's in place. Then I need a smaller, here we are. So I'm gonna get a drill bit that is just about the diameter of the core of this. So the threads are bigger than the diameter of my drill bit. And I'm going to line everything up as best as I'm able to. I actually might, you know what I'm gonna do? That feels pretty good over there. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So I've drilled a hole through my end piece and it goes into the front piece here. Then I'm going to just kind of pin this for now. I have more work to do on this, but I can just kind of feel that, like, there we are. I'm just not really able to set things very well as is because this wants to move around. So here's what I'm gonna do. There's no room for anything. All right, I'm gonna go to the other side and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing. But now I can really try to make everything feel like flush and even and all that sort of stuff. Same thing though. Just right through the backing. Into that, and then I'm going to pin that again. That's smoking, ow. Okay. So now I'm gonna pin this. Okay, I don't need to really tighten it. I'm just gonna pin it. Then I come back and one screw per plank. So 1, 2, 3. And you know, you want to be like right in the middle of the plank. Again, no one's seeing this. So this is more just a principle thing right here rather than like this is the idea you want to, the exact way you want to do it. So I'm going to make a pilot hole. Okay. Go into the actual tabletop. I'm going to do that for the middle one. Awesome, and then I'm gonna do that for the end one. We're smoking. Okay, great. Now, ow, we're gonna take out the pins, the screws that we had. Pretty much fall now. Okay, and remember, these planks, these guys, they want to get wider and narrower. This guy does not want to get longer and shorter. So what we have to do is the holes that we just drilled in this, we have to make them a little larger than the screw is, but not so large that the head can pass through it. So I've gotten just a little bit wider drill bit, and this should just be like a little bit bigger than the outer diameter of the threads. And then we are going to we're just gonna go all the way through. Cool. Just going all the way through. And that drill bit really eats up the wood a little. That's okay. Good God. And basically what we're doing is we're just trying to, the ends of the screws, the pointy part of the screw is obviously going to be buried and stationary in these pieces right here. But then as those pieces and the screw wants to move around, this wider hole will enable the screws to move and float just a little bit. Oh my goodness. Okay. Whoops. That's all right. Man, that screwdriver, that driver bit right there really tore up the wood. It's okay. Again, no one sees this part. And the head of the screw is still going to be like applying pressure. You see, look out, look, that just like slides right through. See that? Like, I didn't have to screw in that screw, so it can float just a little bit. And now we screw it in, and the base of it is stationary. But there we go. And then a few more. Just kind of lock everything down here. And we will have to sand some on the top, it feels like, but that's all right. Most of the time, aprons are also done on the bottom of tabletops like this, so there's kind of a different way to do it. There's a reason that I wanted to do it on the outside here, and that was to make it look thicker. But anyway, that's the idea. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. And I'll just kind of show you me working on the other side, but I'm going to do pretty much the exact same thing on the other side here. But I'm going to, here it is. The only difference is I'm going to make the large hole with the same drill bit. I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around this time. Because that one really kind of took some chunks out of things, and I didn't love that. Okay. Put it in place. All right, and remember, after I do this, I'm gonna eat a banana real fast, and we're gonna try to finish a couple panels. Just so that anyone who wanted to hop on the stream today to check in on the panel process. Goodness, you will be able to do so. Because we do have to finish a lot of panels today. Like 15 panels today, which is a hell of a lot of panels. You know, I was thinking that Friday might be a really good day to stream, that everyone would be kind of like clocking out of work and checking out sort of thing. I wonder if people are just trying to like get the last few things done and like really lock in at the end of the work week. Ow. All right. Yep. Yep. Last one. Awesome. Our bar top is now as good as it needs to get today. We can start on some panels. What's up, Shantae96? How are we doing, my boy? What's my blade width? I have no idea right now, actually. I'm gonna just arbitrarily say 3/32. That's what I'm gonna guess. Sometimes I just kind of say it's 1/8. Sometimes I say it's, we're just gonna go, it's smaller than 1/8. And I think it's 3/32. But the one on my miter saw is probably different from my table saw, from the track saw. But I like 330 seconds as a universal amount. All right, let me see if I can actually show you guys the bar top from the good side. I can get my drill bit and my screws out of here. We'll put those there for now. I'm totally gonna forget those later. Woohoo! Cool. Oh man. So that doesn't look good. That'll be the back. Wow. That doesn't look great. We'll fix that later. Okay. Can you see it? No, not from that angle, that's for sure. There's the bar. So you see that like it's got more depth to it now. And I'm gonna sand it to make it look really nice so that you can't really see the fact that, anyway, it's good, it's good. That's exactly what we needed it to be for this sort of project. Now, we gotta get this thing the hell out of the way because it's time to freaking finish some blue panels of wood here. Like, we are behind. I managed to score another day to where I get to deliver it on Tuesday now. But that was, the goal of that was so that I didn't have to have a marathon day on Monday, which means I need to freaking make some blue panels today. That's what it comes down to. So let me move the saw out of the way and get set up for optimum blue. There's brakes on. That's kind of why this isn't going anywhere. All right. We don't need the glue. We need the blue. This can get moved. Yep. Just gonna put you back here for now. Do not need to make that pretty. It just needs space so that I can keep going with the panels. Okay. And we will eat lunch sometime later. Maybe after I do a few of these and we end the stream, I'll eat lunch then. But right now, I just want to get a few going so that you guys see some stuff, and then we're rolling. We can turn that fan off now because we're not kicking up dust. This is the blue station. Throw that outside. Oh! Throwing these outside. Awesome. This is that. He's gonna have to keep moving depending on where the sun is. That's okay. I should have enough cloths for today. Cool. I need one sander plugged in. Here's that sander. I need my buffer plugged in. He is still plugged in. All right. Then I need my drill. Here's the drill. I've got my dividers back here. I may or may not need more dividers as the day progresses. I'll get there when I get there. And there we go. We are ready. I need to put one of these bonnets on my buffer. Is there an inside and an outside of these? Probably not. Okay. And if the buffer's going on, we cannot can't waste it. We have to do a lot of those pieces because we only have one buffer left after this. I imagine I could probably find some somewhere that could get here before Monday, but yeah, we kind of got to do it. All right, are we ready? Let's move this stuff off. Let's move it just away. These things need to be on the floor. And we are golden. At least drink some water. Finette, that's right. I was gonna eat a banana. I'll at least drink some water. Because the banana's in the car and I don't wanna have to go get that. Have I missed anything? You're so buff. Thank you, Shante. I appreciate that, my man. There we are. And I don't know if you saw that. You probably didn't. The move right there was just to stick the head under the faucet and just drink it like a goat who's at a feed station or something. That's the move. Okay, I got a couple ginger snaps right here. Oh, we're going sideways. I got a couple ginger snaps, which will be a couple little calories real fast. How long have we been going? A little over 2 hours. All right, we're just gonna do like 2 of these, and then we're gonna call it. All right. How many of these have I done? 3 of those. So I should have 3 left. Which side's the good side? They're both pretty, aren't they? We're gonna go with this being the good side. Cool. What I was doing yesterday that I did kind of like is a brief sanding on everything, but really around the sides so that I didn't have those splintery bits. Especially at the end of the grain. That's where you really have stuff flaking up. Like you can just see the white oak veneer at the edge of this plywood wanting to kind of flake up from where I was cutting it. And the good news is with this blue finish that we're doing, it's so dark that like even if I sand through the veneer and I just have whatever kind of weird wood is underneath that, the blue stains it and it's just blue. Even though it's a different kind of wood right underneath this veneer, it just looks blue. And obviously you don't want like huge areas where you've messed up with the veneer. But if you just have like 0.5% of the entire board, like right here, there's a little bit of a chip. I'm not worried about that in the slightest. So then, give it a little bit of a blow off. Cool. Let's bring you close in really quick for the Rubio monocoat mixing. Let me get. Do I have any cups over here? I don't think I do. Let me get a cup. I'm just getting a cup. I always got to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm still wondering if I have a splinter or not. Definitely feels like I do, but I just wasn't able to see it. Sometimes right when they happen, you can't really see them too well. You kind of have to wait until they mature into full-blown splinters. Okay. Here we are. Here's the mixing station for the Rubio. Jabang. All right. Let's get some gloves on. And remember, I was able to be a little bit, not wasteful with gloves, but, you know, I could change them out every once in a while, and it wasn't the end of the world. What we really do need to get done today is we need to get enough panels done to where I know if we have enough blue Rubio monocoat left. I would put in an order today if, you know, I found that out. I just don't know when it would get in by. We have a lot of this one. We have a lot of it left, so it's not time to panic yet. Not time to panic yet. We need spoons, HEB. Sponsor me. We're disciples of your spoons. There are much more efficient ways that we could have measured Rubio monocoat in such large quantities. But because we love your spoons so much and we just want an HEB sponsorship, we're not doing that. We're using spoons. I'm going to shut up while I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Cool. Okay, that guy goes over here. Then we get the accelerator spoon, and we need 5 of these. There is 1. Oof, there's 2. There is 3. There is 4. Hold on. There is 5. Damn. I got a little bit of the blue in the accelerator. Hopefully that doesn't jumpstart a chemical reaction in the accelerator. It wouldn't happen like immediately. It would happen like by tomorrow. I think that was 5. I hope that was 5. But so anyway, I just dumped that spoon in here, and that's A-okay. And then I got the fresh spoon for the accelerator. Was that 5? I think it was 5. It's okay if it wasn't. All right, we mix it up. We mix it up, and then we'll put you guys right here. Is that good? Yeah, we'll move you up just a little bit. Cool. All right, time for blue. Time for some blue. Well, yeah, we're just gonna try to get a few of these done on live real fast, and then I'll just keep going until I don't know when. And don't stop till you're proud. Isn't that a thing? All right, from like Remember the Titans or something. Okay, and by the end of the day, was getting a really good system for this. The key is to try to apply it really thin. That's what I was finding yesterday. Like really push hard into it and spread out the blue as thin as possible. And hopefully, the angle that I have you guys at today is a little bit, you can see the blue a little better? Yeah, you can see the blue a little better today. So if you were here yesterday, you kind of saw the process. You actually probably only saw like the first two before we called it. I have a better process now. But essentially we squeegee it on, keeping it as thin as possible. Got to try to get to the edge. Scraping off as much of the excess as possible. Trying not to, just drop some on the floor. I'm going to actually get that off the floor. It's not, something's rustling around out there. Awesome. Oh! And this white oak plywood doesn't really like you going across its grain with the squeegee, as I have started to find out. But yeah, you try to get, you kind of want to try to get all full coverage with the squeegee, because I've found out that with the buffer, it doesn't really get deep into the pores if you've missed a spot. It spreads it around really nice on like the surface, but it just doesn't really get into the pores. And so you can see where those areas are, because you'll just have like these little white speckles. Okay, it's pretty good. A few more little spots. Not a lot needed. A little over there. I'm trying to be sparing right now because I just don't really know how tight this is going to get. And I promise it's going to look nicer in just a moment once I start buffing it. Looks kind of bad at first. The blue, like, the first panel I did yesterday was like super splotchy. Not at the end. At the end it turned out great. But at the beginning when I was kind of doing this step that I'm on right now, it was splotchy like it is right now. And I was like, oh gosh, is the blue really fickle or something? So I kind of had to panic, but just trust the process. And know that it's a good product, the Rubio Monocoat, and it won't leave you lap lines or streaks or anything as long as you don't take more than about 15 minutes on an area. Let's try to get over there. And I think that what I was doing at the end of yesterday, which was working pretty well, is I was, before I actually squeegeed, like I'm doing right now, I would use the buffer that had just come off of, you know, the last whatever I'm doing, the last panel, and it would already have some blue on it. And I would start off each one by just kind of like using the buffer to just get the panel started. Man, I really did it thin this time, which I think is great. As long as you get enough coverage, I think this is going to be a lot easier to buff out, because after I do the buffing like I'm doing right now, then I come back with a hand towel and I just make sure that nothing is still sticky. Like I've actually gotten rid of all the excess, because these buffing pads, they're good, but it's so much finish that you just kind of generally start the buffing process, and then the actual hand pads are the things that wipe it off really smooth and even. Yeah, this is much thinner than I was going the other day. That's good. I think that's good. Okay. Cool. Now, after that, I get these hand towels. I get 2 of them so that I can kind of hold it steady with one and buff it with the other. And at first they have a little bit of lint that comes off of them, but the mono coat is good enough to where the lint already can just kind of like get polished off. So that's cool. This is much, much lighter, in a good way, than what I was doing yesterday. Like I'm already kind of sliding and gliding over it, which is how you know that you're really close to having it completed. Like you know you've done your job buffing when you're just not sticking or like biting or kind of grabbing on any loose finish. Like everything's wiped off, all the excess is gone, and you're just gliding over the wood. And we're already very close. And it's good for a few reasons. The first of which is I think whatever we did, we used less finish this time, which could prove to be very vital later. But then second, the buffing process, and then also what I'm doing right now, is taking a lot less time. Like if you have to work through a real thick layer of excess, which is kind of what I was doing yesterday, it just takes a long time. How are we doing in the chat? Anyone got anything? I'll check the comments once I finish buffing. It's a pretty color, that's for sure. It's a very, very pretty color. I'm pretty happy with this one. The hardest parts to get are the ends, because you just can't have those nice big long strokes. Getting at the ends, you can get it in the middle. But anyway, that feels good. I'm happy with that. So now, what we do, let's see what's going on in the chat. I saw some big comment. Have I done something wrong? Okay, we got a few things that I missed. The lighting is good, perfect. Yeah, yesterday was a little bit wonky, wasn't it? Am I on something right now? Like that is in the stand, looks crooked. What's going on? New Roots Dynamic. I remember the name. It's been a while. I apologize that I'm a little rusty here on remembering everybody in the chat, but I definitely remember you. Good to see you in the chat again. Yeah, it's actually blue. The lighting's a little wonky, but it's called, I think Midnight Sky is the one that I was using. Yeah, won't it look lighter than the other ones if it's thinner? Good question. Theoretically, for other finishes, the answer is yes. But basically what's happening is the other ones, I was applying it thicker and then having to buff it away until it got to like the end result, which is where all the pads are just gliding over it super easy. That's the end result. Today, I just didn't apply as much of it, and so I just got to that end result quicker without having to soak up as much of the finish with the towels. So it should look exactly the same. Yeah, New Roots Dynamic. Yes. Yes, yeah, you got it. So it basically absorbs as much as it can. Like, you'll know when it's saturated, and that's that. And this one, I just felt like once it was saturated, I was able to remove or like spread around that finish to other areas that weren't saturated. And then by the time everything was saturated, it was like just above saturated rather than way above saturated. And I just kept wiping excess off yesterday. So yes, should look the same. We'll put it up next to it and we'll see, I suppose. No, it doesn't really matter how much you put on. The least amount you can put on so that it soaks up the minimum that it needs, that's how much you put on. Like, you can't put on too much. You can put on too little, but if you go just above what it needs, that's perfect, because then you don't have to wipe off all the excess. So we're on the same page here, but we will see when I put it up if it actually looks as if it's the same. Because I am just the slightest bit, Finette, worried, like you kind of are, that like, is it good? Is it like as saturated as it needs to be? We're gonna see in just a moment. So now what I'm doing is I am putting the next divider in. Yeah, it's interesting. I can see that there's just a little bit of dust that got on the panels from everything I was doing today, and probably just some from last night too or whatever. And I just blew it off. It's already good. I mean, ideally, you don't want that on there, but okay. See if I can get 2 screws in this one. This is a little bit of a smaller divider. Cool. There's the next divider. And then let's put this guy in. What is going to be hard is that the bigger these panels get, the more difficult they are to move into my drying rack without touching the surface that we just finished. And I kind of have to like wrap my fingers ever so slightly around it. But again, the beauty of this finish is that you can kind of just buff it off. So let's see. They look pretty similar. Oh. They look pretty similar. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's going to be so many of these things too that like, they're all going to look a little different because the wood, shit. The wood's different on all of them. Damn it. That's right. Yeah, the wood came from different trees on every single one, so they're all going to look different. Hopefully they all look similar enough to where no one's upset by them. And I think that's going to be the case. Looks nice. It's pretty. Can we see that? Yeah, what do we think? Did they look pretty close when I put the last one on there? more resistant to marks than varnish. I don't know, honestly. New Roots, it looks like you know your finishes quite well. I use Rubio Monocoat every time. It's been working. I like it. Sounds good to me. Basically, use hard wax oil to get a really natural. Yeah, it is really natural. You can definitely still feel the wood grain. Yeah, it's durable. Yes. Okay. Cool. Let's do another one. That's what I'll be doing for the rest of the day. I'll do one more for you guys here, so you can see the process. And again, this project, obviously I'm going to be trying as hard as I can to make things look as pure and as good as I can, but here's the reality of it. This project is for a trade show booth, and there's going to be all sorts of things all over the walls. They're going to get dinged up in transportation. A lot of things are going to happen to these guys. These are not going like into some multi-million-dollar home that is going to be the statement piece that needs to be perfect for all time and eternity. This is kind of a make it look nice, make it look blue, and you know. Yeah, so New Roots, you seem to know quite a bit about finish. You want to do a thick poly, but for something like normal use furniture, hard wax, yeah. Yeah, for a bar top, yeah, you could definitely do a really thick poly. Polyurethane is what we're saying here for people who don't know what poly means. I've done some restaurant tables before, and when I've done those restaurant tables, I didn't want to use Rubio Monocoat because it is very durable, but it's a little bit fickle, I would imagine, if a restaurant was going to be just like 5, 6, 7 times a day cleaning it with really harsh chemicals. That would probably start to eat away at the Rubio. So I did polyurethane, and polyurethane is a very, very durable finish, especially if you do like 5 or 6 or 7 coats of it. It's also food safe. I've made serving boards for a sushi restaurant, and I just smothered polyurethane on it, and that's food safe. But yeah, for these, Rubio Monocoat's good. It's honestly a really nice finish for something like this, but I didn't want to have to put a stain on it, and then put a finish on it, and then put another finish. I just wanted one thing. But what you'll see that is probably not in the best practice is that I'm about to sand the next one, when I have things behind me that are drying and need a clean room. And again, I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all way to do this. The ideal version would be I sand everything before I put any Rubio Monocoat on, but right now this is okay. I looked at the panels from yesterday. They have a great finish on them. They're not dusty or anything like that, so we're just gonna keep doing what we were doing. Good enough. And these panels were already, they're pre-sanded panels. I mean, again, if I was gonna be like making some crazy built-in or some crazy cabinetry, I would definitely be sanding these better than I'm sanding them right now. But they're already sanded, factory sanded, and they felt really smooth. That's what you saw was more just me trying to get any blemishes out that I caused or were caused when I was like handling all the pieces of plywood, just like while they were in their stacks. Why has this got like globs in it today? It's kind of weird. That's really weird. It's all right. And then also, as I cut these, you'd hope that, you know, the track saw and everything would leave the very thin veneer on these panels unscathed, but it kind of flipped up a little bit of the veneer. And so I just kind of like, just very gently rolled over the corners. And as I was saying earlier, this blue is so dark that even if I sand through the veneer, it looks like the layer underneath it is also a very light color, which means that the blue just kind of stains it, the blue stains the light wood to be a dark blue, and it looks very, very similar. Like right here, the veneer chipped. I'm just kind of jamming the blue in there, and it looks pretty much identical to everything else. So that's gonna do it. Yeah, I'm going really thin today. Maybe it's a little hotter today too. And so it's like just kind of drying a little bit more and not staying as like liquidy as it was yesterday. That could be what's going on as well. Regardless, I think going thinner is going to help in all categories as long as I don't go too thin. And I don't think I'm going too thin. Like it's on there. I'm filling up all the pores and doing what I'm supposed to do. And then the buffer, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't use the buffer like I said I was going to. I'll give it one more session of buffing to really get kind of saturated. What's everyone doing this weekend? What do we got going on? I'll open that up to the chat. Anyone doing anything fun? It's going to be very nice weather here in Texas. It's hot, but nice. Like a nice spring day. A little warm for an early... Oh, you know what is making that noise? There's a deer right there. There's a full-grown deer about 20 feet from me right outside. I was like, something's knocking around in the woods. I know a lot of people like to try to get in the head of a streamer, as I have found out from experience, by saying like, who is that outside? I was like, what? There shouldn't be anyone outside. And then someone else came to their defense and was like, I saw him too. And I was like, you know, I get thrown off my game because I'm like, who the hell's outside? Someone tried to do that today, but I'm a wise streamer now that knows that can happen. Going really, really thin with this, but I'm covering everything. And this blue Rubio monocoat is just much thicker than the pure, which is just no color, just the finish. We need a little bit more. Yeah, theoretically, by applying it thinner and then buffing it off to the same amount, should not be any different from applying it thicker and buffing it off to the same amount. The only thing I'm wondering is, from yesterday when I applied it just a little bit thicker, it does feel as if maybe I wasn't quite buffing all of it off with this thicker feel of the mono coat. And so maybe this looks a little bit more like a turquoise than a dark blue like yesterday. I think the important thing is just for as many panels as possible to be as consistent as possible. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Let's try to save that. I'm trying to save any drop until I have a little bit more confidence that I will have enough. All right. This looks as if everything has been covered. Get that. Nice. Cool. Let's buff it. Still on there? All right, right on. I'll get to the comments in just a moment. And it is wild how much this buffer just evens things out so instantly. Like, and you can see the streaks at first, but then I start buffing and the streaks just kind of go away instantly. I unfortunately do see one streak in the wood here that I didn't sand quite well enough. It's going to be all right. I think it'll, yikes. It'll be less noticeable once I do the hand buffing, but maybe I have to sand things just a little better than I have been. And this looks like, I don't know, maybe I applied it a little thicker on this one. Okay. Let's get you back to a better spot. What do we got? Water-based. Okay. New Roots is locking it down with the finishing information. Yeah, you guys got it. You guys got it. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing here. Cool. All right. Yeah, that deer's just right there, man. Just a little bit thicker than the last one. But still, pretty good, pretty thin. It's really easy to buff off right now. And one thing that is toted by Rubio Monocoat is that you can't wipe off too much. It's in there now. Like you can't accidentally, you know, get off too much of the finish by continuing to buff. You'll know when you're done buffing. It tells you, because you just start sliding over things and things don't look any different, and then you're like, all right, that's gonna do it. And when you're buffing, the last buff you do, I like to go with the grain, just in case you do leave any sort of mark with your buffing. it's concealed by the grain. If you go across the grain and you leave any sort of mark, it's much more easily visible. But at first, sometimes it does help to kind of do some circles. Seems to get the most off really quickly. Oops. And that is the thing. I should probably get some thicker towels. These things kind of like to bunch up on me and like kind of curl. Okay. That's great. That's great. Nice. And also it could be that was just a certain piece of wood that was a little different color. How'd you decide between book match, slip match, herringbone? Yes sir, GR Chappie. What's going on there, bud? The deer's loving the blue? Yeah, the deer's loving the blue. How did I decide between the book match, slip match, and herringbone, Shante? Great question. I didn't. If you're talking about the grain pattern on the plywood, there's two types of. He's just chilling there, man. I don't think you'd be able to see him. There's two types of white oak panels that I can get from my fine lumber store. I believe it's plain sawn and rift sawn. I don't know. One of them totes itself on. I'm gonna use a slightly smaller knife. Having the most uniform grain pattern of white oak, and it's just I don't know the way they basically it's like this giant potato peeler kind of thing. The machine that makes plywood, as I understand it, just very, very long blade that you put a log in front of and then it just kind of peels the log. That's how I understand it. And I guess however you orient the log, you get straight grain versus these are called like cathedral grain. Where you have kind of those like, I don't know, mounds and arches and things like that. Personally, I like that a lot. I think that it makes you see that it's wood more easily. But some people really, I guess, like these straight, uniform. Oh, look out. Go. Grain of the plywood. Where everything's just like super, super vertical. Anyway, I got the cheaper one. It's not that much cheaper. The difference was like, I think it was like $200 per panel versus like $175 per panel. Oh, look out. We almost just lost that piece of plywood. So it's not that much more or less expensive, but personally, I actually do like the ones that have more of the arches and the cathedrals, because I think that looks more like wood, don't you? Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's get that towel real fast, and let's Make sure that I didn't get any fingerprints on the side when I was grabbing it. Yeah. Do the same over here. Looks good. Yeah, that one has one little scuff on it, but that's okay. All right, guys. We've been going for 180 minutes. That's 3 hours on the dot. Good to see you, New Roots Dynamic. It's been a while. I'm happy you're back in the chat. They're cool. These blue panels are gonna be cool. I hope I have some extra of this Rubio monocoat because I don't know. I want to make something else that's blue. Shantae, great to see you in the freaking chat, bud. I'll see you later, dude. GR Chiap, Shape? How do you pronounce that? No, I'm just kidding. Great to have you here as always. Thank you for coming in after your real work duties. Finette, as always, what a true to the core fan. Thank you very much for always coming out to the chat as you do. Having great questions. You have the best questions, I think. Shantae, you have really good questions too. Who else is still there? We have 10 people. I'm trying to see Bruno. See Bruno. I don't know if you're still in there. The whole point of this, yeah, I'm gonna go with shape. Maybe it's shape. The whole point of doing this stream today was actually that today is officially the 5-year anniversary of when I started Outer Woods. The 27th of February. I bought a slab of mesquite from a dude in Fredericksburg that was super sketchy. But yeah, so today's 5 years and we're grinding it out in the shop like a little warthog. That's what we do. But great to see everybody. We're gonna try to get more consistent. We did 3 days in a row this time. That was pretty good. But we do wanna make it to where everyone knows what time and when so that you're not having to guess and I'm not having to tell people. But that is all. I'm gonna get some water, I'm gonna get some food, and then I have to finish like 16 more panels. Yeah, thank you for the happy birthday to Outer Woods today, Finette. I appreciate that. And yeah, New Roots was laying it down with some wood finish stuff that he's an expert there, it sounds like. I just use one thing. I'm a one-trick pony. That's it. But it works, I guess. But thank you, everybody, and we will see you, I don't know, maybe for a live next week. But stay tuned. We do have YouTube videos that we are working on. We are cranking out full-length YouTube videos for 2 pieces and 2 videos that I think are really, really cool. Hopefully they'll start dropping next week is what I'm hoping. We'll also have shorts that are coming out, Instagram videos, Patreon stuff. We're doing all of it. It's busy. It's very busy these days, but having fun with it. And we got a lot more blue panels to make. So that is it.